Better. Much better. Play the thing. My name is Steve. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to go over the 27th of April edition of NXT. Back to our regularly scheduled program of NXT this week. Much better on last week. Let's get into it. Show starts off with a match coming out. You've got Dakota Kai versus Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez has some weird music, like almost as if it's delayed. Like, I know that they're supposed to have these packages that sort of make them a whole deal, but yeah, her music, I didn't understand it. It was as if it was botched and it was missing something. But we get into the match and it's an okay match. It's nothing special. There's a botch early on where Martinez comes off the ropes from an Irish whip and Dakota jumps, and I don't know if Mercedes just doesn't realise that she's supposed to duck under it, but yeah, it just looks like Kai lands straight on her face. It's a rough bump. Mercedes Martinez at one point manages to hit a crucifix into like a modified front slam. That was really good. Looked devastating, but just yeah, it was a very underwhelming match otherwise. And there's a small part where Dakota Kai gets some offense in on Martinez as she's getting back in the ring, ends up hitting her with a code breaker as she's draped over the rope. Martinez manages to hit a trio of double underhook suplexes. Yes, there was a couple of good spots. It's just a shame that the match wasn't much to it. Match ends with a DQ and Raquel Gonzalez tries to get involved on the outside. She tries to take a forearm to Martinez. She ducks under it. Martinez hits her. She jumps in the ring. She's trying to finish off Dakota Kai, but then Raquel jumps in to attack her. Yeah, Raquel shot herself in the foot here because she's given Martinez the DQ win, and it now means that Martinez gets an NXT title match. That's announced later on the show. That's coming up in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, I still don't understand this whole dynamic on who's supposed to be the heel in this feud, because I just don't get it. The promos that Raquel cut, she's meant to be baby, and then she acts heel, and Martinez just acts heel constantly. And yeah, it's a very strange dynamic, this one. So yeah, they're going to have a title match in 2 weeks' time, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that. We cut to our first backstage promo of the night. Ember and Shotzi are backstage. They're talking about their upcoming match with Jessica Maya and Aaliyah later on in the night. They have flowers delivered. Really strange, because then Frankie Monet enters the scene, and she's kind of like all for it, and she reads the note, and the note says they're from Dexter Loomis. Yeah, I couldn't understand if Frankie had done this. Once obviously that Monet's read the note and she leaves the screen, the two of them are then arguing that they don't want the flowers, because Ember's saying, oh, I'm married, and Shotzi's like, no, that's just not about me. We come back from the commercial break and we have our first Cameron Grimes promo of the night of two. He's in a jewelry store, and obviously with last week what went on with Ted DiBiase, I instantly looked at this because he's in a jewelry store and thought, is that the jewelry store where Ted DiBiase got the $1 million title them years ago? But it turns out it's not. But he's basically in there and he's just trying to flex some cash. He asked the jeweler to show him something, and it sort of cuts halfway through and says to be continued, which I felt was a bit pointless. You could have just had this roll out in one, but I'll get to the second part now. It cuts back later on, and for some reason it looks like Grimes has been in there for about 8 hours, because it's now pitch black outside compared to what it was when it first started. He's been shown a gold watch, and Grimes is like, yeah, I'll take it to go. And then out of nowhere you see this diamond encrusted gold watch come in and goes, oh, it's nice, kid, but is it $1 million nice? And then you got Ted DiBiase there cutting a laugh, and Cameron Grimes is obviously outraged that Ted DiBiase has done this to him. I don't know where this is going to go. I say, unless Grimes is going to reintroduce like the $1 million title or the Stonks title or something, I don't know. But I'm intrigued. I want to see where it goes with this one. We then get Grizzled Young Veterans in the ring, and James Drake's on the mic. What's James Drake doing on the mic, man? Shut up. Give the mic to Gibson, man. What are you doing? He's basically cutting a promo on MSK. He calls them knobheads, and I'm like, how is Gibson getting away with some of this stuff he says, man? I really don't get it, but it's hilarious. We then get Ciampa and Thatcher come out, and they state that they are grizzled and they are veterans. So are they the grizzled old veterans? I don't know. But then they proceed to make their way down to the ring. They state that they want the tag team titles too, because they're a tag team and they're after them. Thatcher then gets on the mic. He's obviously been watching the Peacock and catching up on NXT UK stuff, because he makes a reference to Takeover Cardiff, where he starts singing "Shoes Off If You Hate Gibson," and then whilst he starts sort of chanting this again and again, in the background, Ciampa's taken off one of his Timberland boots. He proceeds to deck one of them with it. So the two of them jump the Grizzled Young Veterans. They end up outside the ring. Thatcher's made the mistake of not having a pre-unlaced boot, So at one point, he's sitting there trying to unlace his boot, and you've got Thatcher and Ciampa standing in the ring, holding boots above their heads, while the grizzled young veterans retreat to the top of the ramp. Good segment, but yeah, just very strange, very, very strange. We then cut backstage for a Killian Dane and Drake Maverick promo. This is really good, because they're talking about their upcoming match with Imperium. Drake Maverick has obviously, he's been in the wrestling business, and he states that he's seen a lot of wrestling, and he starts quoting tag team tropes for when people split up, and he's like, oh, I know what you'll do. We'll get down to the ring, and then all four of you will beat me up, or I'll be in the ring and I'll be going for the tag, and you'll jump off the apron. Like, Killian Dane turns around and says to him, as a great man once said, you just gotta have faith. And Maverick's like, did he just quote George Michael? Yeah, really entertaining again. So it was really good. This plays into their match later on, but I'll get to it when I come to it. We then get a strange TN Shaw promo. No commentary, no subtitles, no nothing. For anyone else that's confused by this, I think I've finally clocked it. TN Shaw is the name of the faction. So Xia Li, Bo, and I believe the other one is Mei Ling, because I've been confused for weeks by that. I think that's how that one works. But yeah, short promo. Yeah, Google Translate couldn't even help me. I was baffled. Something about a queen beats another queen and something like that, I don't know, but yeah, would say subtitles would have been nice, WWE. We then get our first singles match of the night, Toni Storm versus Zayda Ramir. This is obviously the trainee from Booker T's school. This match you're going to go back and watch for one spot, and this spot was, oh my god, amazing. It starts off with Toni Storm cutting a promo on Zoe Stark, talking about how she made her famous and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like what The Miz is doing with Bad Bunny on Raw, so I'm not a big fan of this. She ends up calling Zayda a rookie, which is obviously the big mistake, because you know if you call him a rookie, you know you're gonna lose. But yeah, she dominates early on. She's ragdolling Ramir just round the ring, hits a big clothesline as Ramir's got her head draped on the bottom rope, and that was exactly like the drop kick from last week, the same sort of thing that Sarai hit. Ramir then gets some offense in before Toni Storm manages to hit her with a releasing German suplex that looked mean. Toni Storm's then going for the Stormbreaker, but she decides to stop and that she wants to do it from the top rope. She's about to do it, but then Zoe Stark comes down for a distraction. So Ramir manages to knock her to the floor, and then, my god, she hits this shooting star press. My god, I can't even speak straight. Toni Storm is literally dead center of the ring. The distance she gets on this shooting star press, man, oh my god, it was amazing. Go and check that out. It is the highlight, man. I had flashbacks to Billy Kidman from WCW with that one. It was great. My only one issue with it is that they seem to be treating Toni Storm like she's Cassius Ohno. Like Cassius Ohno back in the day on NXT used to be sort of the gatekeeper. He was only really there to sort of get over new talent, and it's like, Toni Storm deserves better. She shouldn't be in this scene. It's unfortunate, but maybe something will come from it. I don't know. I just hope they don't end up labeling Storm with this tag that Cassius Ohno used to have. We then get a short Legado del Fantasma promo. They're just stating that they want the tag titles, they want the cruiserweight titles. Nothing special, very short. We then get Bronson Reed on his way to the ring. This is kind of exactly what they did last week with O'Reilly and Cross. Johnny and Candice standing there, and they don't say anything. They just look at each other, and it was like, are we rehashing stuff now? This is a typical WWE trope where they just repeat the same stuff. Yeah, just don't rehash stuff, man. Think of something different to do. Shortly before the match, though, we get an LA Knight promo. He basically cuts at one on Loomis, saying about his win over him last week. Says that Indy wants him, and when she's done toying around with Loomis, come find him. Really short, pointless promo, to be fair. It doesn't achieve anything. It doesn't advance anything. I'm all for LA Knight's character. Pointless promo, really. I just don't get it. But he leaves. Everrise didn't enter, and obviously Mackenzie's conducting the interview. They turn around and say, oh, Mackenzie, do you have a question for us about our Saturday morning show, Everrise Live? And she's like, nope. Fair enough. Mackenzie's trolling on Everrise now. I like Everrise. They're a good comedy duo, like in these promo segments. I like seeing them on screen, and I look forward to seeing them more on TV. We then cut to the ring where we're having our Reed versus Austin Theory match. Obviously, if Reed wins, he gets a shot at the NXT North American Championship. Really good match. Theory, my god, Theory, he could go down kind of like Dolph Ziggler. Like, he could be up there with one of the best sellers in the business. Some of the stuff that he does in this match is just amazing. I mean, he starts off early, tries a shoulder tackle on Reed, like a jumping shoulder tackle. Reed just stands there and Theory just bounces off of him. It's the way Theory sold it. It just made it look more impressive. We get some mild interference from Johnny on the outside while the ref's distracted with Austin. He super kicks Reed, which allows Austin to then do a splash over the top rope to Reed. This sort of turns the match on its head for a bit, where Theory's now on top. Theory does the same thing 3 times, but leads to 3 different moves. So at one point, he's on the outside on the apron, and he rolls through the middle rope, jumps up, and gets a massive drop kick on Reed. Later on, he then does it again, jumps up, but he jumps up so high that Reed can just grab him in a gorilla press slam position, and it was like the height he get was amazing. And then the third time he does this forward roll, this time from the corner, he jumps, but he gets like a front flipping net breaker onto Reed, man. And so yeah, his athleticism is just amazing in this match. And then again, there's a point where Theory hits a super kick on Reed and tries for a suplex, which is recountered by Reed into him doing the suplex on Theory. The move looked devastating. I don't know what it is. It's just, you watch it and it's just like the suplex just looks impactful. And I've got to put it down to Theory. I think Theory's just making Reed look like $1 million in this match. As at this point, Dexter Lumis comes down. I was almost against this because this happened last week where Indy ended up costing Dexter the match. Luckily enough, this doesn't play too much into the actual match itself. So you have Lumis come down. Indy is sort of has her back to him at the point. Indy then notices that he's there. She walks around the ring. She some reason gets in the ring. Lumis gets on the apron, and they're sort of standing there face to face. And Indy's like, no, you talk too much. Which obviously everyone knows Lumis don't say nothing. So that was, I'd say I was cracking up at that line. Reed Irish whips Theory towards Indy, who's standing in front of Lumis. Lumis shoves her out the way to obviously avoid being tackled from Theory. Lumis cops it, falls backwards into the announce table. This basically leads to Reed getting the win here. While Theory's obviously recovering from the impact with Lumis, Johnny tries to jump over the top rope. Reed clocks him with a forearm. He then turns around, manages to hit a big clothesline on Theory. He then goes for the top rope, hits the tsunami, and picks up the pinfall for the win. He's now going to face Johnny Gargano for that NXT North American Championship. Just, yeah, a great match. So go back and watch it just for Austin Theory alone. Like I said, he made that match for me because obviously the size difference between the pair of them. This was all about Theory and how he played in this match. And so he did really, really well in this. We then cut backstage to a promo with MSK and Kushida. They're basically talking about the upcoming 6-man tag match. MSK are basically thanking Kushida for helping them transition into NXT and all this stuff, which is the reason why they came out to help him last week. Kushida cuts a little joke about how tonight they're going to be MS Kushida instead of MSK, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I get it, it was fun, but still, let's move on. We then cut to the way after the match. They're standing in the corridors backstage. One of them's blaming Dexter Lumis, but Candice is like, no. You know whose fault this is? This is Ember and Shotzi's fault. And this enrages Indy, because obviously this is playing off the Frankie Monet story earlier with the flowers that Shotzi and Ember got. And this is the point where you twig where it's like, all right, I get what they're doing here. Candice and Johnny have bought the flowers. They're the ones that are trying to get Indy focused on these women's tag team championships. And the only way for it to do it is to make it look like someone else is going after her man. One of my slight downfalls to the show, we then get the announcers say that Finn Balor is going to be returning to NXT next week. I really wish they wouldn't do this, because they show Finn Balor's social media stuff. Everyone knows what Finn Balor's like online. He stands there and he does these big cheesy smiles. It's not his character on NXT though. To quote Bruce Pritchard, it's kind of killing the business, man. You're like, I get they're trying to be more involved with social media and stuff like this, but you're killing the character, man, because Balor's meant to be this dark and brooding and kind of guy, and you've put his Instagram photos up of him standing there with big cheesy smiles with his wife, and it's like, yeah, I'll live, I'm sure. We then got our tag team match, Imperium versus Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. Again, this is all playing off their promo earlier. Dane and Maverick are on the way to the ring, and Maverick doesn't want to turn his back on Dane because he thinks that this is the point where he's going to get double crossed and he's going to get stitched over for this. Match starts off, Dane just dominates early like he normally does until he gets the tag, at which point Imperium then just take over and they just start dominating Drake Maverick. There's a good spot where Bartel manages to pull an arm drag off of Drake. Because Drake's so light, obviously where he's standing on the top rope and he does this arm drag, it looks more devastating than what it probably is, but yeah, it looks like a good spot. They start hitting good tag team offense. There's a point where Eichner decides that he's going to ragdoll Maverick around by the waist of his jeans, literally spinning him round in circles. As he's been ragdolled round, he's at this point, his belt's actually broken off his trousers, his buttons are undone. Like, if he stood up, his jeans would fall down, but he's crawling backwards towards Dane, who's in his corner. He can't see Dane, but obviously one of the members of Imperium takes Dane out off the apron, And as he turns around for the tag, Dane's gone. So this plays on the whole theory that he was going to turn around and not be there. Imperium just laid the beat down on Maverick some more. Dane finally enters the ring to clear house. This ends with, on the outside, you've got Dane's been taken out by one of the members of Imperium. Maverick's back in the ring. And one of the members of Imperium, I believe it's Bartel, tells Wolf to go and hit Dane with a chair. And Wolf just is hesitant to do it. Like, he doesn't actually do it. So Bartel then ends up confronting Wolf about not hitting him with the chair. A strange sort of end, because this basically just ends up with Maverick eating that European uppercut off the top rope, but this time it's in a powerbomb position. But they pick up the pinfall. They stand in the ring, do their pose, Imperium. They then head to the top of the ramp. They do the pose again, but Wolf then takes a step forward, and then the other two, seeing this, step forward in front of Wolf. And again, it's leading to this whole breakup of Imperium. I'm not sure what's going on with it. And yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, well, you're going to get half a sanity reform. I don't know. And yeah, man, just get Walter on TV, man. Walter will sort them all out. We didn't get a Pete Dunne video package. He just states that he wants every title. He states he wants the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. He wants the UK title that he made famous. He wants the North American Championship. He wants Karrion Kross's Championship. He just wants all the belts. Yeah, you should give him all the belts. It's Pete Dunne. He should have all the belts. He's great. You then get the second part of the Cameron Grimes promo that I've already been over. This is then followed by the tag team match between Shotzi and Ember versus Aaliyah and Jessi Kamea. This match doesn't even get started. As Shotzi and Ember are coming down to the ring, there's two WWE backstage crew. They're standing next to the barricade with chocolates and flowers that are both for Shotzi and Ember. As they're heading over to accept these gifts, they're then jumped by Candice and Indy. Well, Indy essentially, because she's outraged at this whole Loomis affection kind of thing. They end up beating them down over the barricade. Ember ends up getting cupcakes in her face from Candice. Indy ends up breaking a vase over Shotzi's back with the flowers in. And then for some strange reason, the Robert Stone brand think they've won the women's tag team titles, because Shotzi and Ember have managed to drop the titles on the apron before taking these flowers and chocolate, but the bells never rung. Yet for some reason, Robert Stone brand and the two girls think that they've won the tag team titles, and the ref's like, no, you haven't won. Very, very strange. This actually leads to a network exclusive promo where Shotzi and Ember have challenged Candice and Indy to a street fight. That match is announced for the following week. That's going to come up next week for the tag team titles. Should be fun. Yeah, just very strange. Yeah, just very weird. We then get our heavily advertised Adam Cole promo that he's been going on for the last week, that he's going to be back. He's been interviewed poolside by a journalist. I think his name is Arash Markazi, I believe it is. I don't want to butcher the name. Apologies if it is. Quite a famous journalist. He's interviewed the likes of LeBron and Kobe. He just basically asks him questions about what's happened since Stand and Deliver. Cole talks about his recovery. He talks about leaving the Undisputed Era. How O'Reilly's not ready for the main event scene. Talks about the NXT Championship and Karrion Kross. Talks about his future, and then complains about sitting poolside in an all-black suit because it's hot. Yet the interview started off with him on the phone, and the journalist was just waiting for him to get off the phone, and it's nothing. It doesn't develop anything. The only thing that really developed it was the fact that at the end of the promo, it cuts to like a training or one of the locker rooms, and O'Reilly's sitting there watching this interview on TV. So we're gonna get another match for these two. Just hopefully it's better than the first one, because I wasn't really a big fan of the first one. Yeah, like I said, we'll probably end up getting like a series out of this, like a 2 or 3 match series. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. It's at this point that they actually announced the street fight for the women's tag team titles, and also Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott are going to be in a Falls Count Anywhere match next week. And then on to the main event, you have a 6-man tag match: Legado del Fantasma versus MSK and Kushida. Kushida has learned from last week. He now has white trainers on, because obviously with his accidents last week where he couldn't get a grip, he's decided to lose the foot tape and just go back to trainers. This match is just too quick to call. Like, I struggled to take notes for it. I was constantly like pausing it to sort of take a breath really from what happened. Great triple team offense on LDF by MSK and Kushida. Yeah, just, man, it was just great stuff. I mean, this is the match of the night. This is what you need to go and watch, really. It's just constant. There's no letting down in it. They go to the commercial break, come back. At this point, Carter's been isolated by LDF in the corner. They basically keep him there for a long period of time. He manages to get the hot tag to Kushida, who clears house. The three of them then end up teaming up. You've got Kushida standing on the ropes, and he pulls pulls them apart, and you have Carter and Wes end up doing suicide dives through the ropes. Escobar then takes Kushida off the top rope and ends up powerbombing him through the announcer's table. Carter's then taken out by Mendoza. It's now basically a 3-on-1 against Wes. Wes manages to finally turn it around though. He manages to knock Mendoza and Escobar off the apron. He then goes for a double backflip into a Pele kick, which Wild manages to drop kick halfway through a somersault, which is a really good spot. We then get tag team dominance where all three of them are in the corner and they're just taking turns to tag in, corner to corner attack, tag in, corner to corner attack. Really good work by the three of them. After all that offense, Wes manages to kick out on a 2. He manages to get one of Mendoza and Wild onto the apron. The other one's then going for a rebound attack. He manages to counter that, so they take each other out. He's then lying on the deck. Escobar goes for a splash off the top, which he evades as well. He then manages to hit a spinning back fist, a super kick, and a jumping roundhouse kick to all the individual members of LDF. This point, Carter manages to recover and get back to the apron. He gets tagged in. He manages to hit a super kick and a running knee before Mendoza manages to take him out with a running enziguri. Kushida at this point has recovered from being powerbombed through the table. He gets back into the ring. Unfortunately for him, though, Escobar manages to hit the Phantom Driver on him, and then Mendoza and Wild manage to hit a Russian leg sweep, running enziguri combo on Carter and pick up the pinfall. They win. The three of them stand tall, holding all the titles. Yeah, it's a really, really good match. I can't fault this at all. It had a lot of good stuff in it. I can't think of anything bad with it either. As I said, yeah, it's just a really, really, really good match. The whole dynamic of, say, the three of them coming for their 3 titles, it'll be fun to see where it goes. The problem with NXT is they have the same thing with AEW, really, is that they have too many good tag teams and only one title. Yeah, the tag team division is just stacked at the minute, and along with cruiserweight wrestling, tag team is just my favorite wrestling. It's the most entertaining thing I find on it. And there you have it. That's the review for NXT. So back to normal after sort of last week's underwhelming show. The only other thing before I go is there was a promo through the show that I actually thought was a commercial. It seems to be something called the Diamond Mine. I don't know what it is, but it seems like I only noticed it when I was sort of looking for the network exclusive interviews. That it seems to be some sort of MMA thing that they're trying to bring to NXT. Like the montage shows cage fighting and all this kind of stuff, and they've had a trademark in place since December for it, and it seems to be like a championship as well. So whether it's like a kind of like what NXT UK has with the Heritage Cup, I wonder if this Diamond Mine is going to be something similar, but it's going to be cage fighting based. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just say it was. I thought it was a commercial initially, and I skipped through it. And say it was only when I went back that I found it. I hope it doesn't turn out to be like what Raw Underground was, because everyone knows how much of a flop that was. But never mind. But yeah, there you have it. If you enjoyed, give us a like. Leave a comment down below and tell us what you thought of that immense shooting star press from earlier in the night, as well as that main event. And subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.